at 5:30 in the morning, and my ride well, I was there before 5:30. My ride would come by, and it took us about an hour, hour and a half. We had to be there at 7. I worked in the paint department.
Pick you up at your house?
No, I stood down by the water plant on the corner down there.
Okay.
By myself in the wind and blowing and cold. But we,
Yeah. Talking. Say something.
okay.
Tell your story.
Well,
You worked at Douglas.
yes. Dad, as he has already told you, came home in July, last of July of 1945, and he was, I think we stayed in Barstow, maybe less than a week,
Probably.
getting our stuff together. Then we came to Oklahoma City and stayed with Grandma and Grandpa a few days until we could find a little apartment, and we found one down by the railroad tracks someplace. Bond Bridge, was it Bond Bridge?
Yeah, about 11th or 12th Street. About a unit block there on 11th Street, close to railroad tracks, Cane's Coffee and Bond Bread, etc. Railroad tracks, had quite entertainment. Smell of the coffee, the noise of the trains,
And the bread.
and
We lived there.
shared a duplex. We shared the restroom.
We moved there in August, last of August, and we lived there for 2 months. But while we lived there, I found out I was pregnant with Bud, and that bread and the coffee like been the ruination of me. That while we were there, we were hunting a house. We had money to pay down on a house, and we found this was over on 30th. So Dad found it. We didn't have a car anyway to get around. I don't
That
even.
was carrying mail. On the route that was carrying.
It was on the route he was
Went to
carrying.
work at the post office in August.
Yes, he went to work for the post office in August, and this little house over on 2433 on 30th was on his route. So he got to ask some questions about it, and the people that had the house were going to move to California. They had a child that was mentally retarded, and that they could get help for this child out there. Way back 50-some years ago, there wasn't the kind of help there is now in Oklahoma. So the only way they would sell it to the house was that the furniture go with it. Well, it had a real nice living room suite with an ottoman and a side chair. They had the divan and a chair that matched, and then they had an extra chair that was striped wine colored. And they had in the front room they had a desk type thing with a record player on it, I believe. And
Had a big radio.
big radio,
Console radio.
big nice radio, and a little heating stove. There's a heating stove sat between the windows in it, under the windows. And then they had a nice bedroom suite. It was a dresser and a bed. The little house had a bathroom there. Of course, everything was in there. And they had a dining room next to the bathroom, and it had a nice table and chairs. Table and 6 chairs, I believe. And little buffet thing. And the kitchen had a nice stove and refrigerator and little fold-down table. And I don't know how many chairs that would have. Must have been 2 or 3 that we could eat in the kitchen. It had a washing machine out on the back porch, and then the back bedroom had just, it had a bed in it. It was just kind of scrappy like furniture back there, but we got it all for $500 for an anywhere. All this furniture. Well, we thought we'd dive gone to heaven. This little house, too, had the cutest, it had a glass-in front porch, and you could open the windows and be nice, and it had little play bench on the end that you could lift the lid up and keep the children's toys underneath it, but otherwise you could sit on this and see what was going on outside. And it had a nice big backyard. Bud, Jeannie, Janice, and June were all brought home to this little house. We got our first car, the first car to, well, it must have been did we get it before Budget one? 1946?
No, we had to go downtown there and catch, left Judy.
That's right.
Your sister walked over to her place
That's right.
and left Judy, and we walked down to the stockyards to catch a cab.
When Bud was born.
So about after he was born, 38 hours more.
Well, but we had to walk down there to
catch a cab.
Yeah, and this was at night, probably around midnight. Bud was born then the next day at 12:19 noon, lunchtime. Been hungry ever since. But anyhow, Dad finally got on regular at the post office, and Judy started school, and everybody started growing and doing their own thing. We moved to this house in 1958, June 11th, 1958. Of course, it was brand new. It had, the floors were waxed,
Hardwood floors.
hardwood, varnished and everything, that they had paper on it to walk on it, so we wouldn't get messed up. But if anybody had told me as a child or a young person growing up in the Depression time that we'd ever have a brick home, nicely furnished with 2 cars and a driveway, I'd have said, no, I can't see any conceivable way. But
2 pair of shoes.
oh yeah, several pair of shoes. Dad and I both got several pair of shoes, but as we was growing up, you got one a year, you were doing good. And
It was repaired and half sold till they were rotten. They were repaired and half sold till they were rotten.
Yeah, my dad had a lasting stand that he would cut inner tubes up and nails and your shoes. Lots of times your shoes, where he'd tack it on, you'd have a tack that you walked on. So
you got the point.
You could get back and do something about that tack. You hobbled around. But I'm thankful that your dad has never ever been without work. That's a blessing. Never ever had bills that we couldn't pay. You get your bills in the mail, and they were paid by the next when they came due. We never had any bill collectors pounding on our doors or threatening our lives. We've been able to buy our cars and pay them off, and the last 2 or 3 cars we paid cash for.